Hi guys, this is Lisa Joy Haven. Thank you guys for coming to this channel. This is actually take 2 of where I live at. I was going to give you guys a little tour of my home, but I decided to do a beginning here and not show you the rest of it at this present time. Maybe in another video I'll go ahead and show you my home, but this is where me and my fiance actually live at, build at, create at, get peace away from drama and friends and family, and store some of our stuff here and all that fun stuff. But I'll go ahead and come around the bottom grounds here. You probably have seen it before in some of my pictures. This is actually a role play sim where I live at, and we cannot edit here. We cannot edit the ground. We cannot terraform. And in a way, it was a blessing in disguise. Let's see. So now you guys have an idea what my land looks like. I'll give you a round view of it. I lost my Intan dance ball, so I can't do no dances until I buy a brand new one, and they won't give me no support over at Intan. So I'm thinking about going with another place that actually has real support and doesn't, backstab you and stuff when you are getting their updates, like their Intan trios and stuff like that, and their animations boxes and stuff. They won't give you, which is the add-ons to it. But they won't give you a replacement ball when you genuinely have lost everything. And yeah. So this is what my bottom sim looks like. Pretty, right? Alright, now the other thing I wanted to show you is places in which you could build. Okay? I have a couple places I like to go and build from time to time if I have a large build. Okay? Now I'm going to type in 8 hour. This is called Alethea Island Sandbox, 8-hour auto return. Okay, guys. Here you get the rules and everything like that. Feel free to grab a garlic necklace so you're not gonna get bit in bloodlines. Since there's some drama going on in bloodlines at this present moment, and I just want to let you guys know that I'm changing my settings to Candom mod or camera mod or whatever. It's just cool. Alright. This is 8 hours, and you can't have big prims here. So, these people here at this particular sandbox have been nothing but good to me throughout the years. I mean, years. They've been good to all my accounts. They have been especially good to my main. And I kind of want to pay it forward to them. This is the sandbox to go to. You have 8 hours to return your stuff. Do not have any more than 100 prims or 200 prims. I think that's the rules for you to do. So, without further ado, how to build. Okay? Blub, 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 blub. Dum, dee, dum, dee, dum, dum. Gonna get a little bit further away here. Alright. Now, I guess this AO is so annoying. Okay, go at the top of your screen and you're going to see something called Build. I'm going to drop down menu, or you could do Control B, but Build is easier. You'll get this menu here, and you can choose between the shapes that you want to use. Some of these shapes you can use, that you can make flexible or not. Some of them are not flexible. And some places like sandboxes or places that you do not own will not let you res trees or linden plants or grass. So these two are considered linden plants and grass. Alright? As per default, we're going to go with the basic cube. And it's going to go in its basic default wood texture. The surfaces, it has 6 surfaces, all 4 sides on the top and the bottom. So that's how you res, or when you start to build. Okay? Now, in order to move, by default, you're going to have these accesses. This green, red, and blue. By most default in Sims, your elevation is 21. So if you go into your objects folder, you're going to see 22. Put about a perfect 22. It goes into the sand. Let's go to 21.20. Yeah. 22.2, just so I could see it. Alright. Now, see how I have this build tools? I didn't close it completely. I just minimized it right in here. This little minimize button right here. I just minimized it. Before you take anything into your inventory, when you build, name it. I'm going to call it object. I gotta learn how to spell. See, I have a problem with learning how to spell. Ah ha 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 ha. Object prim for YouTube. Oh, I'm thinking of RuPaul. Alright. Okay, and I'm going to do LOL. Okay? Now, click the X button, and you will no longer be in edit mode. But when you click on edit, it's now, name is saved. If you don't save the name on this, then you will go back to it saying object. And then you'll grab it thinking you saved it, and you didn't name it, and you'll have everything in your inventory called object, 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 object. It's happened to me before when I first started to build here in SL. The general tab, you can do, this is the name, and then you can do a description. I can go and laugh at my noob-ish build. Okay? And then you're going to see the creator, and that's me, and then the owner. And since this is something you created, there will not be a last owner. And then the group would be the group that you're wearing at that period of time of creating this object. Your object folder, your object here, will let you know of all the, this is the size of the object. This is one of the most important ones you're going to work with, the size, where it says in meters. It's not in inches, it isn't in feet, it's in meters. That's how SL does its default general units of measurement. So 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, perfect cube. Okay? You could change these at any time. Up, this way, or even this way, if you like. Or you can manually type in 0.5 to return it back. 0.5 and 0.5, just for the sake of this tutorial, just so you guys can play around with it yourself. Now, next is the actual item's coordinates in where it is relative to in-world, where it says position in meters. Right at the top here, I'll highlight one of the numbers. Your X, your Y, and your Z. Your X is this, your Y is this, and your Z is the height, the blue. Okay? Red is X, like you would on a graph. You see X, and then Y would be back and forth, and then Z would be up and down. Okay? So if I move the X, it's going to move this way. When you click on it, you're going to see it move from, they'll see little grid thingies from all up here all the way to here. Watch. Now it's at 73 meters. Now I can manually change it to 72 and let it move back. I can put it back to 76 and it moves right in front of me again because it goes relative in world. So now I can go from 70 in the Y, goes right behind me, or I can go 72, which is right in front of me. And Z is the height. So say for example I wanted to view it a little bit higher, 25 meters. Have no fear. It's up here. Say for example we went back down, put it 22.2, and you got it back on the ground. When you see your one prim and it's highlighted, that means that's the prim you are working on. Okay? It's default for all shapes that you use in World that are prim shapes. And each one of these that you res from this menu is considered a prim or primitive, short, for, well, in World. Okay? Now, the beautiful thing about um, these prims is that you could change the actual features from cylinder to prim to sphere to torus. Once you get away from the basic functions of box to cylinder and you go back to box, it changes its overall structure. I'll show you that in a different tutorial, but we're going to move on to the features tab. Now, this is the prim, okay? This is the prim tab. You want to keep it when you're building like this in general as a prim tab, prim until you are ready to link or link parts, because sometimes convex hull will save you in prims, but you will not be able to get into a structure if you convex hull. So if you keep it prim, it keeps it more physical. Okay. Light. See how I just changed it? I could turn it off, toggle it on and off. See, it's off now. Now it's off. Flexible. Flexible path. See how your XYZ changed to the bottom? Now to untrigger it, it becomes like an ice cube. And you re-click flexible path, it becomes like jello. A woodblock jello. Okay, you can play with the softness, gravity, the drag, the wind, the tension, the force, X, Y, and Z forces, the gravity over here, the friction over here, the density and the bounciness, and then the light. I mean, in prim, some of these prims cannot be some of these prim shapes cannot be manipulated to be flexible. Okay, so when you go back from features from flexible path, it's flexible, so it goes towards the bottom, and then flexible path goes off and it goes back towards the top, or towards the center, the center of the actual prim itself, and then back down to the bottom of the prim once you selected flexible. Texture, this is where it gets pretty interesting. So you can buy a free texture organizer from my marketplace store. Okay, you could click my pics or look my name up, Alicia Joy Haven, and I do supply a free texture organizer for everybody, and it's really massive, and it's one of the best ones on the market. And you could put in the texture. There's a few ways to put in texture. Okay, I'm gonna do a default. I don't know. Let's go to my photo album. I know, right? Let's go back in the beginning. Blah, 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 blah. You know what? No. I'm going to go to my library. Okay, collapse. Library. Save myself some time. Go to your library and your textures and in textures. I'm going to go into some fabrics so you can see it, okay? You could put it on one face, this zebra skin, on one face, but it won't be on the other faces. Or, and you could put tie-dye, let's do tie-dye at the top. Okay. So now you have default all the way around the entire prim. But say, for example, that's not what you want. Now you want the whole thing done. But you notice you have more than one texture on this, so it would say right here in the texture area, multiple. Okay? So now, I click the texture and it's showing all the textures that I have. I have a lot of textures. Okay, we're going to unclick that. Now, we're going to go back to satin, and then we're going to texture this side. So every single one of these has a face. Okay? Say, for example, you didn't like you liked everything, you didn't like anything, but you liked the satin, so you want to apply it. So once you drag your texture into this box, it textures the entire faces, all the faces of the prim. Okay? Now, at any time you just want a blank prim, click on the texture itself again, and another dialog box will pop up. It will take a little while depending on the size of your inventory. Okay? Say, for example, you want to reset this prim back to default. Well, your default, you can change your default texture what you want, but I like the actual wood texture, so that's a default texture. You could do a blank, which is all white, and you could change the color of this, or you could do transparent, which makes it invisible. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm doing blank. Now, once you click the color of this prim, it changes all the color of its entire prim. You cannot change the color of one particular face without using the scripts. Okay? So, say for example, we're just going to do white, and we could do wool here, satin here. We can do plaid here, and we're gonna go with pink tulle, I guess how you pronounce it. So now you got, 4 or 5 faces different, okay? Now, remember how I mentioned, oh, well, la 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 la, okay. I'm gonna do something different. This didn't show up the way I wanted. So I'm gonna go ahead and put leather here. Alright. Ugh, that looks gross. But anyways, for the sake of this tutorial, here you go. So remember how I told you how when you change the color of this, you can change it to any color you want. It changes all the color all the way around the entire prim. Ugh, pink, ew, okay. Orange, thank you, okay. It can work out in either way as you want. If you need to reset it, white is usually your best friend to reset. Okay? Now, I don't like any of this, so I'm going to go ahead and click my texture tab again and wait for it to load, and I'm going to click blank again, and it resets it back into the default white. Okay? Now I'm going to pick a color, and I'm going to pick, let's see, let's do a dark red. Dark red's cool. Alright, now you see this prim. You can't really see what I'm going to do next unless I get out of build mode. So the next thing I'm going to do is that you can change the texture, which is the texture box, the bumpiness. Now, you can change it like this. To darkness, changes the texture on the outside, by the way. Let's try suction. And this is, so you can create textures all the way around the entire prim. And here are discs. Now, next thing is you can change the bright on it. On this type of on the default texture, it doesn't really work too well. So I'm going to change the bumpiness back to none to reset it, and then I'm going to change the shininess to low. So I'm going to unhighlight this for a second so you can see it. See there's a little bit of shine on it. Now I'm going to go back to edit mode and change it to medium. And then we're going to change it to high. This is very visible on black. So this makes it look like shininess in comparison to relative to the sun in the world as well. So I'll change my sun lighting settings. Wait, let's go to world, and then we'll go to environmental settings. With sun, we go to midday. And then we're going to change it to fine day. See how the prim changes its general look depending on how the prim looks. See, now you really see the shine on Bristol. Now I'm going to go back to my favorite one. There we go. Now we're going to go to something called content. Say for example you are a person selling something and oh hell, I'm going to change the color of this and I'm going to change it to none and I'm going to change the texture on it the bumpiness, sorry, to let's do the discs, okay? And then content is where you put stuff in there. Say for example, let's see, I'm in my default library. You want to box a gesture up. And don't do anything of your library because this is actually Secondlife Linden Lab stuff. This is just an example. Say for example you want to put a gesture in that you created after you've changed the permissions to what you wanted. You can put it right on in. And now you have this. Anytime you don't want it no more, you right click, click delete. Make sure you have a copy of this before, and there you go. Anytime you want to put more than one thing in your box, go into your inventory and then click shift and it will highlight, and then hold your mouse button, your left mouse button, and drag into the contents of this dialog box and will all load right in there. And then again, if you don't want these no more, you click in the contents, click speech texture high 1 and then delete, or like that, and then click delete. Or if you want to only do a few, I just held my control on the selected ones and I can delete from there. But in this case I want to do shift and then delete. And it will ask you, do you really want to delete these? You sure? Click OK. Okay, I always keep that small dialog box up that says, always checks if I want to delete something, because it's actually saved my rear end several times. So basically that's how you res out a prim, and then I'll go into how to link items too. Now the next step, you want, say for example you want to make something cool, alright? Right click on edit, okay? And you want to shift, you want to hold it, you want to make sure it's highlighted in move mode, which is called edit mode, and hold your shift button on your keyboard, and then also move your mouse over to the direction that you want your prim. Okay, oh, you just made a copy of that prim because you have full permissions to use that prim because you made it, you're the creator. There you go, see, heteros, object prim. I'll be saving the same prim type. Now say for example you want to make duplicates of this. There's two ways to really do this properly. Okay, well really three. Say for example you like the spacing, right, but you want to change the color. Let's change the color to yellow just so you can see it, and you want to change the bumpiness from disc to stucco. Sorry, I don't really like stucco. Let's go to section. I like section for some reason. It's cool. Alright. Now, with this being said, now you have two different colors, right? And you want to join them together without having to worry about one being apart from the other, okay? There's one way to do that. You can shift over, you can left click, like you would highlight a page in a book or highlight a link, and then you would just highlight the two prims, and they're not linked yet, but you can right click or go to the top of your screen and click link, or do control plus L. Okay, now it's linked, so I can unclick from here And look, they're linked. See how they're both highlighted now? That's one way to do it. Now, let's say for example, you like this. You totally love this. This is the coolest bullet build ever. But you wanted to, build upon it. Shift. I'm going to drag upward. Now, because these are both linked, okay? Okay, if you change the texture on this set, it would change the texture for all. If you change the color, it would change the color for all. If you started out with this being flexy and all of a sudden you want to change it to not being flexible anymore, you can't do that until you unlink that. That I will cover in a different tutorial. Okay? Now, I'll show you what I mean when you change the color when they're both linked. Changes the color of both. Okay? But anytime you don't like this, go to right click on it, go to more, delete. Okay? Now we're going to do the repeat shift drag thing. But say for example you wanted the colors opposite. So something called rotate, which is right here. And then you use your XYZ axis. See this axis thing, the one that looked like little lines all over? That is called something called snap to grid. Okay? You can rotate up and down. For this case, we're going to put it here so you can see it. Okay? And then say for example you want to rotate it this direction too. And let's say for example, you're going to get a little funky. So you can go ahead and rotate upwards, downwards, sideways, any way you want. I mean, this is your build, your creation. There's nothing wrong with it at all whatsoever. Okay. Now I'm going to try to perfectly put it in the center. Okay. But now these are two separate pieces. See the one piece here, one piece here. Well, anytime you want to join any linked pieces, they're treated as individuals. So this one linked here and this one linked here are considered two separate objects now. Okay? If you link an object, it's now no longer two blocks or two objects, it's now one. Now, here's two. This is one object. Land impact 2, meaning it's two prims or two primitives total. Here it is also same. One object selected, land impact 2. Now, we're going to do our shift button while it's selected, and then we're going to click shift and click on the joined items as well. Go to build, go to link, or control L and click link. Now, edit. One object, now it's one object, see? Not two separate. Now land impact is 4. So it's 4 primitives. Okay? There is a way to turn this from 4 to 2. That I'll cover in a different tutorial, but this is just basic building, editing, linking. Okay? Let's say for example, you just don't like the color on it. So you go to build and go to unlink, which is Control Shift L. Control Shift L. It says, do you really want to unlink the selected object? Say unlink. Okay? Now, in order to change an object, you have to get out of build mode. So just click off to the side of the screen or onto the ground where there's nothing there, and then click back on it again. You want to change the color of this to blue, and you want to change this other one to, I don't know, say green. Now, these are separate items now, this whole thing. It's no longer linked. So if you do anything, you can mess things up. And I'll show you a different way how to edit linked parts another time as well. But in this tutorial, this is just basic linking, unlinking, fixing, prims, just basic editing. Okay? Nothing wrong with learning the basics. No matter how old you are in SL, you always get the basics. Okay, say for example, you know, you want to link all this. So I'm going to go ahead and just do drag, left drag, and then shift, and then all these will highlight white and then go yellow after I'm done releasing the mouse. And then I can click Control L or link. Okay. The last selected object will be what they call the parent prim. Okay. The boss prim. Okay, the mommy prim. Okay, how to tell that it's the mommy prim. I'm going to change my settings to nighttime, world, sun position, midnight. There you go. Now you can see it. Okay, see how the highlight around the boxes are blue around most of them? Those are called the child, the children. The one that's yellow, the one that's red, the red box here with the yellow around it is called the parent prim. So if you put any scripts inside there, rotation scripts, it will rotate from that particular prim. But say for example, that's not where you want it to be. Go to Build, Unlink, which is Control Shift L. Click Unlink again. And now while it's highlighted, you can go ahead and click your Shift button. Click on this button, it will unlink, and then re-click it again, and then click Link or Control plus L. And now the child prim is no longer the red prim. It's now, the parent prim is no longer the red box. Now it's the blue box. This is how you do it without having to edit or move too many things at once. Okay? Now, you can move it up and down. Now another thing is, in case you need to make a backup, I always go right click, more, take copy. Alright, now it'll be in your recent or in your objects folder, object prim from YouTube, LOL. Okay, now you can do like millions of these if you want, but you want to be considerate to the sim owners of this place. I'm going back to my favorite win light setting. Alright, while it's changing, you can see it, all that fun stuff. Now click out of my inventory. But once you click it, I want to warn you about something else. Once you change it and it's all linked and you change the color, that's why I say create a backup before you do any other changes. You change it and the whole thing changes texture. Change the color, change the bright, change the shininess. It changes everything all at once. So you need to be careful when you touch this. That's why I said create a backup before you do any changes and then re-res the other one out. Now how to res is that you get something from your objects folder and shift and hold it with your left mouse button and drag downward, just like that. If you need to make a copy of something, while it's in edit mode where you see all these blue, red, and green accesses, right here in the dialog where it says move, you click your shift, drag, shift, drag, shift, drag. Anytime you want to clean up your stuff, you want to keep it all together, hold on to this, shift over like you're highlighting again, and then more, take copy, or you could delete. I prefer to delete. And then you're done. So this is Lisa Joya. This is your basic YouTube tutorial on how to build, on how to link and unlink, how to coalesce, and that's what coalescing is called, coalescing in SL. I hope you enjoyed this. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and if you want more tutorials, give me suggestions of what to make. Alright, thank you guys for watching.